sure where to start with this. So what I came up with, you retire. At that point, you decided to do a music video, or had you thought about doing a music video before that?
Yeah, actually, I did the music video before I retired.
Oh, okay.
So the kind of the sequence of the way this all worked is I had a supervisor who I had worked for at my former company for over 15 years. And I wanted to do something special for his retirement and something that was kind of unexpected. And so I had the crazy idea to do a music video. And I hadn't sung before, I hadn't danced before, I hadn't acted before, hadn't done any of that. But I still pushed forward with it. And it turned out great. That project was where I met John Clayton Doyle, the writer and director of I'm an Electric Lampshade. He was our choreographer. And I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but it got a standing ovation at the retirement party. And the person who was retiring was completely surprised. I think most of the audience was too. And so I kind of caught the bug, Dominic, and things went on from there. And it wasn't until I actually retired a couple of years later that I was able to really dive headfirst into making I'm an Electric Lampshade.
The music video for you, what's the scariest part? Is it the singing? Is it the choreography? Is it the what?
You mean for the original music video?
Yes, sir.
Well, they were all very challenging for me. I think probably the part that I enjoyed the most was doing the ad lib dancing in the
Right.
music video, and being with colleagues who participated in the music video when we showed it, and just having fun and bringing that spirit forward, and really thanking my former supervisor for all the great things he did for me when I worked for him.
And John, he was aware you had done nothing before that. Was he comforting
No,
you, walking you through it? Did you?
No, we had never met. He actually auditioned to be the choreographer for the music video. And that was where we first met him. I had four colleagues that agreed to do some backup dancing for me in the music video. And the five of us met John along with other people, and he was the clear standout, and that's how we started working together.
And when you go in to do the video, is the intent to make something funny, or is this taken seriously like this is a music video?
It's the intent of it was to make something that was fun, that was completely unexpected, that people would look at it and go, "Who? That's the guy. That's the corporate accountant." I can't believe it. It was kind of like transforming for them in front of their eyes to make this exciting music video.
Were you involved in the post production?
No, for the music video, the post production was handled by the producer. I had no experience with that whatsoever. I mean, we did sit down together and do a bit of editing together, final editing, but the producer did most of the post production on the music video. In deference to him, he did a terrific job. His name was Jonathan Pashko. That we worked with him on that music video, and another one, part of which is in the film. And yeah, I mean, he was great.
You have no aspirations, no interesting before you see this. What is your first reaction when you see yourself on screen and you're singing and dancing?
Well, when I first saw it after Jonathan had edited part of it together, I thought it had turned out better than I would have imagined. And it was actually very exciting to see myself on screen. Something that probably I'd always dreamed about being, seeing myself on a screen, but actually having that happen was quite a thrill.
And were you more nervous with reaction from the man you were celebrating or from everybody there?
I was more nervous, um, probably from everybody there. I think the person who was being honored in retirement would have been appreciative whether it got a good reaction or not. But this gentleman had worked directly for the head of the company, and the head of the company, of course, was there, and that was a little nerve-wracking. And there were some other senior members of the company that were there as well. And here's this corporate accountant doing this wild music video that nobody's ever done before. So that was pretty nerve-wracking. It was very heartwarming when a lot of people started standing up and clapping and yeah. So when that happened, I breathed a big sigh of relief.
You and John finished this project. How does the an electric lampshade come up then? Is that like, is there a process where you guys sit down and say, wouldn't this be cool to do something else?
Yeah, that's actually what happened. So we did the first music video, and then I went back to John and said, I'd like to continue working with you. Of course, he was the choreographer for the initial music video. And so we continued to work on choreography. And I was not the best dancer in the world when it came to following choreography. You really need years and years of practice to do that, but I still enjoyed it. But John was the one that turned to me and said, so what are we going to do next? It doesn't make sense to do more work together if we don't have a project. And I wasn't sure, and he suggested the short film. He suggested a short film, something about 20 minutes long, that incorporated a music video. That was the initial plan for what ended up being I'm an Electric Lampshade. The film just grew and grew over time as we got more ambitious, and we shot footage in different locations in New York State. And then we went to the Philippines and we shot a lot of footage there. And by the time we came back from the Philippines, our editor, who we had already hired, said, you've got a feature-length film going here, especially if you're going to do another shoot in Mexico City. And so it just grew into this amazing feature-length film that was bigger and broader than anything we originally imagined at all.
I sadly haven't seen the film yet, but I definitely want to check it out. My question, how did you pick those spots to film it? New York, Philippines, and Mexico City. Was there significance?
It's an excellent question, Dominic. So the New York State is the home base for most of the U.S. team. Our other producer, Jacob Krupnik, is based in New York. Our director of photography so's John. And I live upstate in New York. So that was one of the reasons that we shot in New York. But if we wanted to give this film any sense of realism, we knew that we had to, and if we wanted it to be as diverse as possible and as inclusive as possible, we knew we needed to film in some far out places that were a little more off the radar screen and a little more off the beaten track. John's original idea was Manila. And so we went there and we worked with an amazing film crew there. And then we had originally thought we were going to film the concert back in Manila, but it's a long trip and a costly trip. So that's how the idea of Mexico City came up. And we also wanted Doug to be performing not to a straight, U.S. audience. We wanted to show that he was performing on a world stage. And the best way to do that was to actually shoot footage in other parts of the world where, you could actually have an American performer that was performing a concert.
You speak of Doug in the third character. How long does it take to get the Doug character together? And how much different is that Doug than this Doug?
Yeah, I know. The Doug character in many ways is me. As John likes to say, I work with real life actors and I put them into situations where they kind of portray characters, they portray themselves. So even though there are parts of the film that are straight documentary, the film is generally shot in a documentary style. There are parts of the film that are narrative, and but nonetheless, the narrative part of the film, Dominic, parallels things that actually happened in my life as I was preparing to do various parts in the film. So, so while I talk about the Doug character, I consider the Doug character and myself almost to be interchangeable.
You do one song in a music video, and now you guys are going to do a concert, like a full-on concert in another country.
Yes.
For you, how crazy, weird, strange, like now you've got to do songs and you've got to rehearse and all that, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
What was that like for you?
Yeah, that was what's the right word I want? It was very challenging. It was certainly scary. When you get in front of an audience like that, it can be certainly a bit nerve-wracking. But on the other hand, it's also exhilarating, and you feel the energy of the crowd, and that's just a wonderful experience. Certainly one that I had really looked forward to. But yes, we wrote additional songs. John and I worked with some other collaborators, and so we wrote some additional music that is performed in the live concert, and that we had backup dancers, and we had backup vocalists, and we had a backup band, and so yeah, there's a lot involved for sure. I now have a much better taste of what's involved with all those tours that those wonderful performers go on all the time.
Being a corporate accountant is a somewhat very disciplined job. And
yes,
a good musician is a very disciplined. I mean, all the other stuff over the musician thing is show. But did it help you being an accountant? Because you were so disciplined that when it came time to learn how to play and practice, you could focus easier?
Well, certain parts of the corporate accounting world that I lived in for so many years were helpful in being disciplined about doing things. But there are certainly parts of the corporate accounting world that I had to abandon. Because in the corporate accounting world, as you can imagine, you kind of live in what I'll call a box, and you really rarely step outside the box. And behavior or doing things that's out of the ordinary is really kind of frowned upon in that environment. You're really meant to be a pretty buttoned up and low-key kind of person. And so to be a performer and to do dancing and singing, I really had to let that go. I had to trust myself. I had to trust my coaches to coach me through getting outside of my comfort zone. And I really had to allow myself to be vulnerable in ways that I've never really done before. Because in the corporate accounting world, showing vulnerability is not a strength; it's considered a weakness. So here, you need to flip that, and you need to let that go. You need to let all the inhibitions go, and you really need to kind of reveal your true self. And when you do that for the first several times, it's very daunting, shall we say. It's tough to switch gears like that. And since I had to do it in what I would call crash course mode, it was a very challenging experience. But I had great coaches who really stuck with me. And so that made all the difference in the world.
Your fellow employees, your friends, you tell them, hey, I'm retiring from being an accountant. I'm going to be a rock star. What is their response to that?
For many of them, it's why are you trying to do that? And for some of them, they look at you a little cross-eyed and think you're a little off your rocker, shall we say. But for some of them, they were I guess I won't say jealous, but they thought it was great that I was, trying something new in retirement, where a lot of people just kind of go off into the sunset in retirement, and they stop working and they take care of their to-do list around the house, and they end up, a little bored. And I can honestly say that since I've retired, Dominic, I haven't had a single boring day.
You remember the first song you wrote?
The first song that I wrote with John was a song called "Hooked on Me," and interestingly, that is where the title of the movie "I'm an Electric Lampshade" came from, because it was the first verse of the song. That was the very first verse I wrote for the song. Kind of came out of the blue, and so that was the first one. And then John and I continued to work with our sound engineer, and we wrote 5 songs in total.
The actual writing process for you, did you come in with the lyrics? Did John give you a riff and you decided to write the lyric around it?
We collaborated on the lyrics on some of the songs, and on a couple of the songs, John actually wrote the lyrics. So there's a song in the movie called "Another Look," and John was really the writer of that song. I performed it, but John gets full credit for the writing of that song. And for the other songs in the movie, we collaborated on the lyrics.
The 5 songs, are they within a storyline, or are they like 5 different subjects?
No, they're all songs that well, let's see. The one song, "Hooked on Me," you see Doug perform for the very first time at his retirement party in a music video format. But we carry that song further in the live concert, and we make a DJ mix of it that a DJ named Owen John helped us with. And so we use that in the live concert. We use a song called "Another Look" in the live concert. We use another song called "Catwalk 2" in the live concert. And then the last song didn't make it to the concert because there wasn't a good place to fit it, but it's in the concert soundtrack that's going to be coming out right around March 20th.
And did you do all the recording and stuff first, the writing, and then go and rehearse the songs? Or do you do a song, then rehearse it like for a live show?
We did the songs first. We created the songs in the studio first, and then the rehearsing all came in preparation for the live show.
You mentioned you had background dancers and stuff. When you go to do the live show, do you purposely want to make something theatrical where you're like Kiss for sake of discussion? Not that crazy, obviously. Or is it something almost like David Hasselhoff?
Yeah. We wanted the live show, as viewers will see if they watch the film, is extraordinarily colorful. The costuming for it is meant to be surprising. And the performances are varied. It isn't one straight genre of music for the entire performance that's shown in the movie. And so it's meant to be surprising, and it's meant to plant some earworms in your head for some of the songs that we hope people will really like.
You as a person, how long does it take for you to become comfortable on camera where you almost forget the camera is there? When you're filming a documentary, the hardest thing, I do similar work, is getting the subject to trust the person enough who's filming that you can just be yourself.
Yes. That for me was one of the easier parts. I mean, our director of photography was extraordinarily professional and wonderful guy, and I mean, I trusted him implicitly right from the get-go, as well as the other photographers that we had that assisted him with camera. So for me, you know, the camera really didn't bother me much, which was a good thing. You know, trusting John's direction and really giving him the performance that he was seeking to make the biggest impact in the film. That could be very challenging for me because, again, it's outside of my normal comfort zone. Right. But you know, John and I worked well together. He could be tough at times, which is what was needed to get the best performance out of me. But I mean, all in the end, it was a great experience.
When you do the live shows, are you more worried about getting the lyrics perfect and getting the song perfect, or are you interested in doing a good show?
We're more interested actually in doing a good show and making it really entertaining for the audience. I think that's, for me at least, coming to see something where you walk away and go, wow, that was an incredible experience all the way around, is that's the goal, at least for me. It's not making the lyrics and the music perfect. It's really making the whole package something that you walk away from and go, wow.
Did you do the meet and greets and stuff before or after the shows?
We sometime, not really before the show, but after the show, you know, I met some of the audience members and signed a couple of autographs, and that was all a lot of fun.
And you were a DJ, weekly radio show at some point in your life?
Yes, many years ago, I had a weekly program on a community radio station in upstate New York, and so once a week I was on the air, and you know, the comment, even though it was early on Sunday mornings, which is not the most popular time for people to listen to the radio, but for those that did, the common comment that they made was, "You have such a perfect radio voice." So, I mean, that was great. And, you know, I'd be in stores and talking with my wife or whatever, and a patron would come up and just turn to me and say, "You have a great voice. Do you do voiceover work?" Or, you know, whatever the case might be. So, or are you on the radio? So that was one of the reasons I did it. It was fun.
While you're DJing, thought ever cross your mind that I could be a singer, I could make a record?
No, it didn't at the time. I have to admit it. It didn't at the time at all. No, I thought my voice was great for radio, and maybe I thought about dabbling in voiceover, but I really don't have that desire anymore. But who knows, Dominic? I might end up going back on the radio on a community station or something again at some point. It was fun. It really was fun.
A two-part question. Your wife's response when you say, "Hon, I'm going to shoot a music video for somebody at work."
Yeah.
And then the second part of that would be, "Hon, I'm going to do a documentary." Her reaction?
For the music video, her reaction was very supportive, although there was a lot of rehearsal that was involved, and after a while, I think that got a little tiring. She was kind of like, "Are you done with this music video yet?" But she was very supportive of it, and she really, really liked the end product. So that was very gratifying for me. When I talked to her about the film, she said she was, again, supportive because she was one of the ones that got me involved in performing in the first place. So, you know, she encouraged me to at least try it. And so when I told her we were going to do what we thought was going to be a short film, she was supportive of it. And she said, look, you're retired, go try it, see how it turns out. I think the thing that perhaps in hindsight she wishes that she didn't do, although I thought she was terrific, is when the director and I talked her into actually being a character in the film and actually, playing my wife. So, yeah.
Oh, you have this original idea. How much of the actual idea do you actually get in the completed project? Because sometimes stuff gets cut off for budgetary reasons and stuff.
When you say the original idea, you mean for the concept of the movie?
Yeah, the film. I'm sorry.
There wasn't anything that I would say really got cut off. You do documentaries also, so you know that there's an awful lot of footage that you shoot that never really makes it to the actual film. And certainly in our case, we had a lot of footage from all the places that we shot. So you look at the edited product and you say, oh gee, I wish we had included this shot, or I wish we had included that shot.
Right.
But our editor, Rachel Webster, really did an outstanding job sifting through all that footage to make a concise storyline that really makes sense, but including all the colorful imagery and the beautiful scenes and following Doug's story through the ups and downs of his learning to be a performer. So when I look back on it, there's nothing that I say to myself, gee, I really wish we had included whatever. I think we have the best stuff from all the footage in the film.
And you as a person, were there any specific parts that might have been uncomfortable to do, but they were important to the story?
Yeah. Certainly my learning to be a performer at the San Andres School in the Philippines, a lot of that was very uncomfortable for me. I was kind of exposed on stage as I was learning, the ropes, so to speak. And Sin Andre, who is played by the wonderful Cesar Valentino, is played a tough teacher. And so when you're in that situation and you're getting tough coaching on camera, it's that can be a little daunting and a little embarrassing, to say the least. But there were important parts of the film. You can't show a film like this and show that he just sails through it all as if it's easy.
Right.
You have to show that he has a tough time along the way, and he has plenty of self-doubts, and he has it strains his marriage, it strains his relationships, it causes a lot of self-doubt and worry. And I think the way we've done that in the film is in many ways true to life for me, and also I think it's an accurate portrayal of Doug's journey.
Are you familiar with the movie Spinal Tap?
Yes, I am familiar with
Do you
Spinal
have
Tap.
any Spinal Tap moments in this production?
That's hard to say, Dominic. I'm not. I can't say for sure.
So what's next for you?
That's a good question. So I've been really focused since we finished post-production of the film, which took a good amount of time. My energies have been focused on getting the film festivals with the help of our film festival strategist and promoting the film and trying to find a home for it, which we have now with Gravitas Ventures. So that's been an all-encompassing project for the last couple of years. And now that the film's coming out, there'll still be more work to do to support the film as it gets rolled out on various digital streaming platforms. But now I'll turn my thoughts to what I might want to do next, whether I want to go back to doing some singing or going back on the radio or pursuing something completely different as a project. It's really an exciting time to explore again. I'm young. I still feel good. Well, I won't say I'm young. I feel young, but
We're both pretty much the same age, so
yeah. So yeah, it's it's if there are more dreams, it's time to pursue them.
And have you or will you have a screening for the people you work with at the accounting firm or the corporation?
We actually, not for the people I work for at the company. I would anticipate that some of them will want to see it, and there may be some who are not particularly interested, as there are for any film that comes out. We did do a private screening for a lot of the people that were involved in helping us with the film, at least in the US. And we did that a couple of years ago, back when it was on its film festival run. So they've seen it. Many of them have seen it, not all of them. And they'll have an opportunity to see it when it comes out March 28th.
Are you on social media?
The film is on social media, both on Facebook and on Instagram. I personally am not. I've never been a social media maven. So, but having the film out on social media is a wonderful thing.
And the handles for that would be I'm an electric lampshade.
The handle for the Instagram page is just @electric_lampshade. The handle for the film's website is I'mAnElectricLampshade.com without the apostrophe, without the apostrophe. And the Facebook page is also I'm an Electric Lampshade. So you can find them that way.
And you touched on it briefly earlier, but has your perspective on entertainers and stuff changed since you've gone through this entire process?
Yes, I have a much deeper respect. And I can say with complete honesty that I never look at a film the same way again when I watch it, because until you've gone through this process and you've lived it, you go to a film and you say, oh, gee, that was a great film, and wasn't so-and-so a great actor. And now you go in and you look at a film and you go, that shot probably took 20 takes. And I'm sure they had to shoot it in a couple of different angles. You think about all that stuff now when you go see a film. So yeah, it's my perspective and my respect for what entertainers, actors, performers do has grown immensely. It is hard work, and kudos to them.